Now with this video about Akame got killed, I want to start off with two things that I did not like about it. And I know a lot of you guys are probably excited the fact that I'm doing the review on Akame got killed, because a lot of people have actually told me to watch it, and I don't know how you guys are going to feel about my review on it, because I'm actually going to be giving it a grade. It's been a while since I've done a video like this, when I just review an old series and watch it all the way through, which I got 2 more episodes left, so you guys probably won't see the true ending to my video until after I've seen those 2 episodes. But 2 problems that really did arise during watching this was simply the pacing and the comedy. I really want to start with the comedy here. So the comedy is basically kind of out of place in this series in the beginning, in the first 8 episodes, but a lot of things are wrong with this series in the first about 1 through 8 episodes. One being that the death in this series it could have been so much more valuable. It's like a sensei-student kind of relationship, and I feel as if it could have been pushed back. But I don't want to hop into too many spoilers, so if you guys have not seen it, I just want to say, if you keep watching, it is on you. Now, the comedy really felt out of place, and it made the show kind of feel vanilla, I think, in a way, because we have a lot of these dark scenes. Like, for instance, Matsumi comes with 2 friends to the town, or capital, and it just so happens to be that they both get tortured to death, and all of a sudden it's a very sad scene. It's kind of really messed up. It's kind of like, oh god. But then next thing you know, we have Leone dragging him, and he's making kind of like a funny squealing sound, and it's kind of like, that just ruined the mood. And it kind of carries into the anime up until like episode 15, because I did start to find myself laughing at really funny scenes in general that were supposed to be funny and not taken serious. But I really haven't gotten out of the vanilla kind of aspect of a dark story until probably recently, probably around episode 20 itself. But the show could have been this whole time, and quite frankly, the show is basically a show that had a lot of potential but didn't really capitalize on that potential, which also has me kind of teeter-tottering, like, how in the hell did Studio White Fox make this and not really adapt it properly? Because as you guys will notice if you guys check out the manga actually just recently ended, right around 100 or so chapters, and yeah, the season 1 is just 25 episodes, and that's the story. Like, literally, there's not going to be a season 2 for this unless there would be like a reboot of season 1. So you can tell how much source material was actually left out of this show, and that leads me more into the deaths of this series. And that is simply, there's only very few that actually really stuck to me. One is only because of the visual concept, and it made sense to the emotions of our main character Matsumi, and another one was a romantic one, and one was just, it was the sibling kind of aspect of it, and it really drives home any time you see 2 siblings fighting to the death, because it always, especially if you have a sibling, it's just kind of like, you understand how you guys don't get along, but seeing them fight to the death is much more dramatical, of course. So those are a couple qualms I have with this, but let's go back to the pacing really quick. So the pacing really sets this anime up for failure in a sense, simply because everything means less because everything's happening so much faster. There's no characterization, there's no character development, and if there is, it's going so fast it's hard to notice. But the show does slow down with its main arc that happens from about a 9 to 24 episode, episode 9 to about 24, and it makes the show better in that aspect. It really does. The show does get better, which I had the show, I don't even know where I had the show as a letter grade. In the first 8 episodes, I probably had it right around a C-, and then by episode 15, I would say it's at a C+, and I still got to see the finish, so I'm not sure where this show is going to end up, but I find myself saying I'm probably not going to be giving it anything higher than a B, not even a B+, maybe a B. I got to decide still. And now my last qualm before we actually dive into the things that I do like about the show so far, and that is, we never get to see, well, Matsumi's fruits during the battles. And what I mean is the fruits of his labor. And, well, I guess the best way to put it actually is, we do get to see his fruits, but we never get to see his labor. We never get to see the hard work he put in, and anytime we do get to see him putting in hard work, it's for about a minute and a half. We literally don't even get to see the training sessions, and that's kind of another thing I want to hop on here too. So each mission usually is done either by a single person and or in groups of 2s, which negates a lot of screen time, which surprisingly they could have not done that, but they did anyways. Like, I mean, the show's named after Akame, but yet he may get some of the least amount of screen time out of the whole main cast, literally. And at a time, I actually found myself more connected to the enemy group rather than our group, Night Raid. So Squad Jaeger actually way more interesting to me. And at the same time, Esdeath is probably maybe my favorite character in this series, because we get to know her and we get to see her and how she acts and how she's truly kind of crooked and or crazy. And Akame gets great scenes, but we just don't get enough scenes of her. And that's why Akame's a great character, but I find myself saying she's not even a lead character. She's more of a support character, even though the show's named after her. So I'm not sure why the author even named this series after that girl. But of course, once again, 25 episodes compared to 100 chapters, you're going to be skipping a lot of source material in that time, so I guess I can't necessarily blame Studio White Fox, but I can blame them for taking on a project way too early, given this was about, what, 7 years ago when the show came out, somewhere around there, somewhere around 2010. But I will say this, the animation, art and animation was probably a little bit ahead of its time, I would say, at least the art aspect of the show. But the show does actually provide some good world building in the beginning. It kind of shows you how corrupt this world is. It kind of shows you how the world works. Tells you that's basically political based, in the sense of, if you're a corrupt politic, you have all the power. And it even goes as far to say, hey, there's 3 nations that surround the main capital nation, and they're all kind of at odds, and more so at the capital than the other nations per se, going up against one another. Now, another thing that they did good here was actually giving us character background information. Sometimes it's only snippets, but it actually has given us character background information. And the one character background information I'm still waiting for is Leone, which I don't know if we're going to really get any or not, because everyone's a red shirt. As people who have seen the show know that they are red shirts. So, yeah, about that. Now, the whole Esdeath and Matsumune I kind of forget his name sometimes. Can you tell? But yeah, I'm pretty sure I've been pronouncing it wrong the whole video. Anyways, it's Tatsumi. Now, one thing that I feel as if in the death category, because I want to jump back to this very quickly, I feel as if this show should have most definitely focused on the visual aspect, how they died, and how they shamed their dead bodies in front of their comrades, because they knew their comrades would see them. I feel as if they should have focused on that aspect of the show more than, you know, the emotional aspect of the show, which there are some. There's a brotherly death also, along with the kind of sensei student, but the visual one is of Chelsea's a lot better, because how it's done, how it's so terrible, how it just pisses you off that they're shaming their dead body like that by putting Chelsea's head on a stake, and it's just kind of like, wow. Now, one of the main antagonists here, I find to be very fascinating too, because she's really annoying, and they present her very well, because she's always so close to you and you being able to kill her, but you're always like yet so far. And Tatsumi's definitely, if you watch the show, you'll understand how Tatsumi feels about that, because he is one of the people that he just can't do it because of the position he's in, because if he were to act up, he would be gone for sure. Now, I don't want to say this show is terrible, because it's not, and I still have yet to see the ending, and that will be the final clip of my show. It will probably be the final verdict kind of room or something like that. I don't even know what I'm going to call it, but presentation is the key in a lot of anime, and this show just, it kind of misses on its presentations, or it doesn't necessarily miss on its presentations, it just doesn't have the material to present itself, because it skips over. And due to skipping over that material, we never get a viewer kind of connection to a lot of the characters, which, by a lot, I mean 90% of the characters, by the way, maybe 95% of the characters. I'm not really sure, but at the same time, the show is not terrible. I would be lying if I said it was fun. If it wasn't fun, I would be lying if I said it wasn't. But I have had entertainment from the show. I just feel like it's potential that could have been harnessed better, and at least made the show an A- at the very least, and be a lot better of writing, kind of writing, and a better anime at that. I don't know how the manga compares to the anime, but definitely leave down in the comments below what you guys even think about that. How good is the manga compared to the anime? Because I would love to know personally. But I think the best way to describe the show is a 180, because the first 1/4 of the show is very, there's nothing great about it. Now, at the same time, the last 3/4 of the show, so far it's been pretty good. It's definitely amped its way up, and I think if it would have maintained this kind of aspect throughout the show, I feel as if the show would have been more along the lines of a B to a B plus, I would say. But I gotta see how it ends. If it ends terribly, it may be a little bit worse than what I want to rate it. But as of right now, I'm giving the show a B minus. Now, I don't know if you guys would agree with me on that or disagree, because everyone's ranking scales and their perspective of a ranking scale is a lot different. Some people think a 7 out of 10 is good. Some people think a 7 out of 10 is very average. Some people say a 6 is average and or a 6 is bad. It just depends how you view it. But I'm not actually finished watching up this show with the monitor to my left, and I'll be back for my final verdict on Akame ga Kill. So, you made it to the final verdict, did you? So, let me tell you something, guys. I was very surprised to be as acceptable to the ending as I was. In fact, I didn't want Tatsumi to die. I found myself rooting for him, and it makes a lot of sense simply because he was the guy that's always on screen. He was the lead character, and I wish the whole show could have been like this. We see Leon go down. We see everyone go down. Friend or foe, it seems like. There's only 2 people left from Jaeger squad, and there's 2 people left from the Night Raid squad. And I found myself kind of baffled because I felt as if it's kind of like random in an aspect. I didn't think the general of the team would actually be the one that lived, so it kind of makes sense because she was never really on the front lines to begin with. Let's be honest, she never did the fighting, and at the same time, I didn't expect those 2 people from Squad Jaeger to actually live. And the Ice Queen, oh, I did not expect her to go down that fashion. It's badass. I love the ending fight. I did not expect her to walk up to Tatsumi and literally just shatter them. That's kind of like, I thought maybe if by some chance in hell, maybe Tatsumi does live this. And he did not. He actually did not live it. And bravo. The ending was good. I loved it. I enjoyed it. And it's such a bittersweet ending. And usually things like this are so bittersweet to me because I love seeing in the end the main character live. I just love seeing that. That's just my thing. I don't prefer him to die because then I feel like it's all for nothing. Even though, yes, I understand it wasn't. But for him personally as a person, it's kind of like you didn't get to live in this world you created. But, it is what it is, right? It is what it is, I guess. But it was so hard. And if Akame ga Kill could have made us attached to the characters, or just semi-attached to the characters like they did with the characters that died at the end, like Leon, Tatsumi, of course, it would have been a lot better. But for my final verdict and my final grade for Akame ga Kill, I'm giving it 2 grades. A B to B plus, and I think the B plus is more along the lines because I'm just simply in the moment, but I will give Akame ga Kill the B grade for sure. A solid B, that's what I'll give it, because the last 3/4 of the show was good and I really enjoyed it. So Akame ga Kill gets awarded a B. I recommend you guys check it out. What an ending. What a bittersweet ending. Now I gotta go back to watching Naruto, and well, let's just say they're all about to go in on Madara, and I know there's some death flags coming. Yeah, I'm depressed. Guys, go watch it. You'll be entertained. You'll see the flaws that I see, but in the end, I think you will like the show, and I think you'll give it a C plus to a B. I see it fit being anything in there. B. I'll see you guys next time. As always, you've been Hags. For sure, leave a like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, X25, and I don't even know what to say right now. Peace.